So here's Barry McCarthy speaking from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, as a psychologist, sex therapist, and couple therapist. You know, whether I'm teaching college students, I'm talking to a lay public audience, or I'm talking to a professional audience, they're always shocked by the answer to this question. That when couples stop being sexual, it's almost always the man's decision. In 90% of the time, it's the man's decision. And it's his decision, it's a very unwise decision, but it's caused by the fact that he's lost his comfort and confidence with erections, intercourse, and orgasm. And so he says to himself, I don't want to start something I can't finish. And I not only stop having intercourse, but I also stop engaging in sensual, playful, and erotic touch also. And even where the woman has complaints about sexual desire, long-term complaints, she really doesn't want them to stop being a sexual couple. There's that sense of touch and restoring touch that is key. Now, I'm going to say something that many people find really surprising, but I think the science is very much on my side. And that is that Viagra has actually caused more non-sexual marriages than anything else in history since 1998. Not because it's not a good drug, it is a good drug. And at the workshop, we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of Cialis versus Viagra versus penile injections. But that the issue is you cannot return to the easy, totally predictable erections that you had in your 20s. That one of the major concepts that really empowers and motivates both men and couples is adopting the concept of good enough sexuality. And good enough sexuality does not treat intercourse sex as a pass-fail performance. Good enough sexuality talks about valuing sensual touch, playful touch, erotic touch in addition to intercourse, and also affirms the value of both mutual synchronous sexual experiences as well as asynchronous sexual experiences. And one of the reasons that we so emphasize this issue of staying sexually connected and talking about that as more than intercourse is that when couples continue to engage in intimacy, pleasuring, and eroticism, it's not only good for their relationship, it's also good for their psychological and physical health. That one of the best predictors of males being depressed and getting into medical problems is this unwise decision to stop being sexual. You wind up feeling depressed, alienated, and not really valuing your spouse, your relationship, and the role of touching and sexuality. And one of the things that most motivates men to resume being sexual is this idea of saying to them, do you want to be a traditional man? And traditional men stop being sexual somewhere between 40 and 60, or do you want to be a wise man and you can be sexual in your 60s, 70s, and 80s? And part of being a wise man is turning toward his partner as both his intimate and erotic ally. And that women actually in their 50s and 60s report really valuing sex in the marriage much more than they did in their 30s and 40s. And it's partly because they know that it's more of an intimate sexual team experience, and they feel needed in a way that they hadn't been 15 or 20 years before. So I'm really looking forward to being in Toronto and helping the clinicians there talk about good enough sex and keeping sex alive in relationships.